If you want to get accepted in uni in England, but you have bad grades, this is your sign not to quit.
So I moved to England. Yeah, England. The land of grey skies and culinary underachievement. I stayed because I realized I could be homesick and happy at the same time. Oh god, I'm late. Of course I'm late. I'm genetically predisposed to be late. I'm Latina.
Oh god, you're here already. I'm so sorry I'm late.
I'm not truly sorry, I'm just loyal to my culture.
You know what? Let me fix your cup of tea. You know what? You told me you wanted me to tell you the story of how I moved to England. So actually, what better way than for us to have some tea together? Can we just get some drinks? Let's go. But don't worry, I'm not gonna be holding any beverages because I don't want to be out there spilling the tea. Did you get my joke? Why is it so sunny outside? Is the city malfunctioning? But let me actually tell you the story of how I moved to England. It's a story about failure and self-pity and eventual redemption. It could be a movie, but it isn't. So I was doing my second bachelor's in Germany because one was not enough torture, of course. And my bachelor's in Germany had a very fancy program that was called the Fast Track Masters, which was a program where students could apply for a master's even before they finished their bachelor's thesis. The thing is, the university was very focused on global environments, so you had to do that master's abroad, so not in Germany nor in your home country. Not that I would want to go to Brazil anyways. So I dreamed of doing this program, but you had to have very good grades. You had to be quite exceptional to be accepted. And when the time came, I checked, and my grades were just not enough by 1 decimal point, literally. I don't really think I could be any unluckier. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how my dream died. So to be very honest, I was not bothered at all about not doing the masters. I had a really good life in Germany. I had a great job. I had a very decent apartment, friends, pretzels the size of my face. I really couldn't complain. I had a super efficient and logical German type of plan. I was fine. But then I got a phone call. The phone call. In the middle of COVID, a friend of mine who I haven't spoken in with over a year just called me. This friend had never called me before, and he has never called me again for his entire life. We chatted for ages until he casually dropped, "Are you gonna apply for the Fast Track Masters?" To which I answer, "Hey, so, no, I ain't got the grades." To which he, in utter disbelief, replies, "What? What is your average grade?" Oh, my average grade was precisely 2.59, and the absolute minimum was a 2.50, which means I missed it by a threshold of 0.09 points. To me, that's just bad luck. I think the world didn't really want me there. You know, when I got my grades report, I got so sad. I folded it into 3 parts. I put it into an envelope for my future self, and I wrote, "Do not open unless absolutely necessary." And then I just ate toast. To which he replies, "What? My grades are the exact same, and I got accepted with a scholarship into the university in Hong Kong. You have to apply for this." This call, which happened on a random Friday night, also happened to be only 3 days before the deadline for when I had to tell my university if I was going to apply for the Fast Track Masters or not. I had just enough time to check the costs, panic call my dad, and tell the university, "Whatever, I'm gonna try to do this, even if I don't get accepted." Honestly, that call felt like a miracle. And the funny thing is that I talked to him about this a year after, and he told me he never remembered ever calling me, even though we were on the phone for almost 2 hours. Suspicious, I must say. And that's a true story. So if you're still here, and you'd like to know what was it that I did that actually made me differentiate and get an unconditional offer to actually study a master's in England, you should really stick along and hear what was my application process. I did just flip around. I did that. I genuinely believe that an application process like this could really differentiate you from the person that has a higher grade than you, or maybe the exact same grade, but makes you stick out of any other candidate. And now, if you guys don't mind, I just wanted to stop for a little cigarette break. Who am I fooling? This is not Paris. No one smokes cigarettes in London. People vape here. Sorry, just another joke of mine. This is not a vape. This is just the remote of my camera. Can we please stop vaping in London, guys? This is one thing I really don't like about the city. Our youth doesn't really need that. I don't need that. Okay, but let me just tell you about my application process. In all honesty, I'm terrified. I'm fearing the possibility of them saying no much more than if they actually had said no. I'm pretty sure of that. So what did I do? I procrastinated for over a month to send that email because I was scared. Don't do that at home, kids, because I could have lost the deadline. So please bear in mind, I was applying for the program of Innovation Management and Entrepreneurship. I know that's a mouthful, but it's quite important to know what was my experience and what was relevant for the course itself. That's why when I finally grew the courage to send that email, this is what I focused on. First, over 8 years of market experience in the business field, especially regarding the technology industry. I have been working in technology for over 8 years, even though most of my time were internships, but that's definitely relevant for people who are going to be in the programming, because you're actually raising the bar for everyone who's in the room, because you're bringing your experiences into the classroom and people want to hear about it. Second, my international experience in corporate strategy in SAP, which is literally the most valuable company in Germany, and I did work there for like 7 years. And experience in business development of startups, which was highly relevant for my course, of course, because we're going to study innovation management and entrepreneurship. Startups are literally like almost a synonym of what that is. Okay, I'm going to be honest here. I couldn't find the very final email I sent to the university asking if I could apply or not. But I'm going to tell you what I would have said today based on my experience of the time. First, I wouldn't just tell them that I have over 8 years of marketing experience in the business field. I would tell them that I've actually been a top performer intern in my company in Brazil, SAP, and that led me to actually go to Germany. They invited me to go and work there because I was a top performer intern. That's what literally changed my entire life, and that's why I started having an international career. I should definitely have mentioned that in case I didn't. By the way, if you want to know how I moved to Germany, that story is very exciting, and you can watch everything in this video here. Another thing I would mention is, I did leave SAP to work for a startup for a while because I really wanted to get that experience. And do you know what happened during the meantime? I was the first hire after the founders, and actually we were only like 4 people in the company, and I helped them raise almost €1 million in an investment round in only like 9 months that I was there. That should have been an achievement that I should have mentioned when I was trying to apply. And finally, do you know what was one thing that I could have mentioned? During my time in Germany, we needed a spokesperson for the class. And do you know what's really cool? Someone actually nominated me. Like, I was not even thinking of being a spokesperson. A course mate of mine just came to me and said, hey, I think it would be really good. You should probably nominate yourself. So I was like, okay, I volunteer. A lot of people actually volunteered themselves, and I've been the most voted one. So by popular vote, I was actually my class spokesperson, which I think was really cool. And we actually brought some quite important things to the board of the uni. Hooray! But why am I humble bragging so much around here? Well, let me tell you. But first, I'm just gonna go back in because I'm cold and I'm done with my non-vape break. But the reason, guys, for all of that humble bragging is because you need to understand what matters when you're applying for university abroad, especially if you're applying to a country that has a superior education than your own. I come from a developing country. I come from Brazil, and I went to university to both Germany and England. Both countries had a better education than Brazil overall. But in Brazil, however, we value working early a lot. Mostly because people need to work because they need to be able to pay the bills and help their families, but also because Brazil itself values practical knowledge lots more than the academia and university knowledge. Nowadays, I would say this is slightly changing because education is ever more valued as we start to become more developed, but having work experience has always been more valued in Brazil than the academia itself. And this is where wherever you did back in your country enters as a differentiator for you, because every single country has things that others don't have, and you have to understand what is it that is so special about you, and that's going to bring value to your course mates who have not lived the same reality that you did. In a world of ChatGPT AI, people who have very similar grades to you. What is it that differentiates you? By the way, everybody loves traveling nowadays, okay? This is not a differentiator anymore. But maybe you were like obsessed about a sport. That shows ambition. That shows drive. Maybe you tried to start your own little endeavor during the pandemic. Maybe being a YouTube channel or a little business. Maybe you just did some charity. Those things are really important so the university understands what type of person you are. I mentioned before that I was a spokesperson for my class in Germany because that shows leadership skills as well. It shows you have extra interests other than just being in class and doing what you're told to do. Showing those extra things just show also what you're interested in. Leadership, people, developing people. Because after all, grades are not all that matter. And I'm really glad actually that my grades were not really that good enough. Because at that time I felt so embarrassed and I said, what's wrong with me? I'm pretty sure my grades could be better. But I was way too busy focusing on actually living life in Germany because I wanted to just enjoy my time as much as I could in a different country. And you know what? I do not regret it. I think my life was much richer than if I had actually only focused on my grades. And as I said, I feel like for a lot of people this is mostly obvious, but for others, maybe this is what you need to hear if you're afraid of applying to that master's studies that you feel is just like way too good for you. Because maybe that's not the case. Maybe you have so much inside of you that your grades might not even matter that much. You know what? At the time I felt embarrassed, and nowadays I feel grateful. Because it shows me that after all, I am more than my grades. And it's like literally the truth. You are more than your grades, guys. Duh. Okay, this is already pretty long, but this is the email that I got back. And it said, Dear Victoria, after a good discussion with our recruitment manager, I am pleased to inform you that you are eligible to apply for our MSc Entrepreneurship and Innovation Management Programming. It is highly likely that you would receive an unconditional offer. So, why are we not trying a little bit more? Apply for that master's. Even if your grades are bad, try it. And try it again. Even if you fail, do it again. And of course, just to wrap it up, I do need to tell you, yes, I did get an offer. And of course, I went to the University of Exeter. It said there, we are delighted to offer you a place at the university. Congratulations. Details of your offer. Yay! It literally felt like England was calling me. Like everything was like pushing me towards to be fair, I'm just really grateful that I ended up studying in the University of Exeter. I feel very privileged. I'm also grateful that they took a bet on me. So guys, this video is basically over. If you want to stop here, you can. But if you want to hear how I got a job in England, maybe that would be relevant to you too. It's kind of a miracle story again. And it shows all of the reasons why I feel like I should move to England somehow. Because it just feels like the world was sending me there. So if you want to stick around. If you're bored, it's okay. You can let go of it here. Bye. I see you in the next video. Watch my Germany video because I think that's a cool one too. Cool. Now if you stayed, I just changed again to get comfortable because now I feel like we're just in between friends. I'm just going to tell you the last part of the story. And I finally grabbed that tea that I lied to you saying I don't like. I have converted, but please don't tell anyone at home because my mom would not be proud of me. But it's just because us Brazilians are very proud of our coffee. And if my mom knows I'm converting, she would kill me. That would be a sacrilege. My mom would not like that. Okay, but here's the story of how I actually got a job in England. So my boss in Germany, we were already working together for almost 4 years. And he had invested a lot of his time on me. And he asked me one day, right after I got accepted for my master's, and he didn't know that yet. And he just looked at me in the most casual way. And he said, Victoria, what are you going to do 1 year from now? I love that he's so German that he asked me that with the same casuality as if he was asking me if I had plans for the weekend. Usually I wouldn't know what I'm going to do 1 year from now, And that was the time that I actually felt really scared because this guy, he was mentoring me very frequently. He put a lot of effort and time in me for years and he was planning to hire me. That's why he asked me because I was going to graduate 1 year from them. So I generally didn't really know how to tell him, but I just take a deep breath. And I go, well, actually, I've been accepted for a master's in England. I'm just there standing terrified because I don't know what he's going to say because he's hoping to hire me eventually, as a full-time employee. But my German boss just goes very casually again, oh, so you need a job? And I'm like, I haven't really thought about it. It's only 1 year from now, but I suppose so. And he's like, well, I have worked with someone before who works at SAP London nowadays. I'm pretty sure I can connect you to. And I'm like, okay. And out of a sudden, I have a job interview 1 year before I'm even moving to England at SAP London. It was like a miracle again. But wait, because it does get better. Like, it seriously gets better. So I prepare my CV and I send to this manager in SAP London. I'm super nervous. I hop in a call with him. First green flag. He's Portuguese originally, so we share the same mother tongue. Second green flag. Because he's Portuguese, he works a lot with the office in Brazil. The office in SAP Brazil, which is the office I started at. If you want to catch up, I do have a video that tells all the story of how I moved from SAP Brazil to SAP Germany. You can check it in here. It's quite cool. Go watch it. Cool. Third green flag. He diligently studied my work. Like, he really looked at my CV and he asked a lot about my experience and the projects I've been at. And he sees I've been in a project called Boticario, which is a project he knows. And he goes, Victoria, I see you were part of this Boticario project. I love this project. Who was your manager back at the time? Guys, bear in mind, SAP had 107,602 employees in 2023. That's more than the population of Pisa in Italy. It's a lot of people. But I tell him, the name of my Brazilian manager is name of my Brazilian manager. And he goes, oh, I know this guy. I worked with him before a lot. He's very hardworking. And this is the moment that I'll go, oh my God, what are the odds? Like, really, what are the odds? So this Portuguese manager who sits in London looks at me and says, look, Victoria, your job experience is very interesting. I feel like it really fits with the needs we have in the department. And if you're being recommended by, insert the name of my German boss, and you've also worked with, insert the name of my ex-boss who sits in Brazil, well, then for me, I guess you're in. And that was it. Just like that, I had a job in SAP London. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I've never been as happy living in a country, and I lived in 5 countries before. Sorry, in total, in case you don't know that. But I lived in 5 countries, and I've never been as happy as I am living in England, and especially living in London. It does kind of feel like it was my destiny to live here, and, you know, if it happened to me, it can happen to you too. Maybe you have something inside your heart that you'd really like to apply for a specific master's or job, or you want to live in a city and you think it's too overwhelming. I used to think London was too expensive for me. I genuinely thought I was not good enough for London. I thought I wouldn't be able to get a job here because it's like, it just felt like so out of reach for me. And somehow it felt like the world was like, girl, you can do it. Even though I didn't believe in myself, I ended up here anyways. Please go apply to that master's you're scared of applying to. Go try to get that job that you think you're not good enough for. Sometimes being courageous is even more important than meeting all of the requirements. So please, go for it. If I did it, I'm so sure you can do it too. I love you guys so much. I see you in the next video. Bye!